2024 Giro d'Italia, stage 15, and they call it Pogafication. 222 kilometers, and afterwards it was Tadej Pogacar winning the stage. Around 30 seconds to Nairo Quintana in second, who was in the day's escape. Georg Steinhauser in third, but further back, the GC riders that Tadej Pogacar dropped, coming in at around 3 minutes. Now, if you're looking at the GC, it looks like Tadej has this whole race wrapped up, and we still have 1 week of racing to go. He has a gap of around 6 minutes and 41 seconds. Massive. Just like his ride in this year's Giro d'Italia, the 2024 Giro d'Italia. He's led not from day 1, but from day 2. Now 14 days in the pink jersey. 4 stage wins. It's been the Poggi d'Italia. He's riding away with this year's edition. But let's focus on how it all unfolded, or should we say unraveled, for Tadej and for his rivals. A group of around 50 riders went free this morning. 6 riders with 4 riders chasing. Yes, in that move was Nairo Quintana. Yes, was Julian Alaphilippe and Steinhauser as well. Those guys would hold on for the bitter end. Also in the group, so many Polti Cometa riders, Bardiani riders, but they wouldn't fare well as the race kilometers ticked by. We had the Mortirolo climb, but it wasn't up the hard side, it was up the easier side. Then we had the Foscano climb, which is right over my shoulder, before we got here to the final climb. And this final climb, the Mottolino, never used before in the Giro d'Italia, only around 4 kilometers long, but coming after that 14-kilometer Foscano climb, a dip down and a kick up. Now what happened? At the foot of the Foscano, we only had around 17 riders. Up front, the escape was splintering. Initially in that escape, I should mention, an American rider from Team Movistar, Will Barta, featured. Also 2 riders from Geraint Thomas, Team Ineos. In there was Tobias Foss and also Jonathan Narvaez. Geraint Thomas sitting 2nd overall when the day started. Also Danny Martinez, 3rd overall. He had 2 riders up front, including Max Schachmann. Back behind, working for Tadej Pogacar, is Felix Großschartner with Rafael Majka. Also in the group for Geraint Thomas was big, tall Filippo Ganna. You'd remember his name because he won the day's TT already yesterday. He was climbing with the best, doing so much work to protect Thomas, former Tour de France winner, 2nd overall in the Giro d'Italia last year, to protect him for the final showdown. Ganna was gone. G looked over to Arensman to do the work, and in fact Arensman was very attentive, especially when the attack started to come from Rubiano. But this was all while Tadej Pogacar was up the road. We saw Rafael Majka start to set things up and then mark it down. 13.9 kilometers to go on the Foscano climb. Tadej Pogacar attacks, flies free in the all-pink kit. Today's wearing pink shorts to match the pink jersey, pink Colnago lettering on his black carbon fiber bike, pink socks, pink shoes, pink handlebar tape. I don't know, maybe he had pink hair underneath his helmet. I was over here at the TV compound watching the TV, looking at Matt Sheen, the head DS on the team, looking at his phone. He was messaging back to the directors who were in the car, giving them updates on the gaps. Tadej Pogacar was free, picking up the rest of the escapees, including Attila Valter, the rest of the guys, Michael Stohr, hunting down the last of the remaining escapees. That included Georg Zimmermann and finally Nairo Quintana on the dip down and the climb back up to the Mottolino climb, and eventually he had Nairo Quintana in his sights. It had been 40 seconds at the base of the climb, and then 4 kilometers was the climb, and around 1.9 kilometers to go, he caught him. He had him in his sights, locked him in the radar there, and then bam, fires, passes Nairo Quintana, former winner of the Giro d'Italia, flies past the Colombian to go on hunting down for the stage win. Of course, there was also Steinhauser in the moves back behind. Tadej was keeping an eye on all of that, hearing updates in his earpiece, wins the stage by 29 seconds. And if we're looking at the stage results, it was Nairo Quintana, 29 seconds back behind Tadej Pogacar, winning his 4th stage win. Steinhauser in the end was back 2:32. And then ticking back, Bardet, first of the GC group was Danny Martinez, Geraint Thomas, Martinez, both of those guys were back at 250, finishing together. That means it's still Thomas sitting 2nd overall Rubio, who had attacked earlier, was marked by Arensman. He finished at 2:58. Ben O'Connor back at 8th place at 2:58 as well. Arensman 3:05, moving closer on Tiberi, who had a bad day. Tiberi preserved his 5th place overall, also the white jersey, but at one point he was being dropped, and in fact he lost time today, but rode within himself, conserved. He'd been the one out in the attack on the other summit finish stages on Prati di Tivo. In fact, I asked him, which is harder, attacking or trying to maintain your composure when you've been dropped? He said definitely on a stage like today, trying to maintain himself. Well, he did. He conserved his 5th place overall and the white jersey, but it was a destruction day. I saw Ben O'Connor over there just out of gas, out of breath, yelling at the cars coming by, all the clutch smell, chaos all around. Spoke of Thomas over that way, who thought he was going to be on a better day, but in the end he said he just didn't have the legs. But proud of Team Ineos today and how Ineos rode. And Geraint Thomas, we're proud of you for always having the time to take the time and carefully dissect our questions and give well thought out answers in a polite form. The Welshman does well, always responding to our questions. But we ran over to the mix zone to get the words on Tadej Pogacar, and he said he wanted to get another victory. And he was thinking back to the Col de la Loze stage last year, 5,200 meters. I think this stage had around 5,600 meters of climbing in total. Billed as the hardest day of Grand Tour racing out on the day. Tadej hated the Col de Loze climb. In fact, he still says it's his worst memory, and he doesn't like it at all, so he doesn't consider this stage as hard as that one last year in the Tour de France. But today was a day for Tadej to mark down in his race books at home when he's keeping track of all of his trophies and all of his wins, because he stomped his foot down. He took another stage win, 4th stage win in the Giro d'Italia. And if you're looking at the classification, well, it's a doozy as we go into the 2nd rest day with the 3rd week still to come. More racing, more mountains, because it's Tadej on top, 6:41 over Geraint Thomas, 2nd last year, former Tour de France winner. Danny Martinez, 6:56 back. Ben O'Connor struggled today, but still looking good. The Australian from Perth at 7:43. Antonio Tiberi on the attack today. When he was dropped, had to attack to get back, firing whenever he could. 9:26 back on Arensman, moving closer in the white jersey competition, 9:40 back, so you have to do the math there, around 19 seconds back in the white jersey competition. Bardet moved back up 1 spot, jumping over Filippo Ganna, who's in 8th place. Bardet's there in 7th, Ganna in 8th, and Rubio, with all his attacking, moved up 2 spots. That's 9th overall, and Jan Hurt 10th overall. But the story on the day is Tadej Pogacar, the Slovenian fans cheering him on up the climb. We saw them waving their flags when we were getting up that final kick with those 10-12% gradients, a little bit of light gravel on the side of the road. You have to consider this mountain summit here was just pay for the Giro d'Italia 2024, just pay for Tadej to come up here and take victory, take the day, take the last day before we go into the rest day. Stage 15 in the Giro d'Italia goes to Tadej Pogacar, champion in the pink jersey, 4th stage win, heading into the rest day, well in charge of this Giro d'Italia.